The Houston Texans with the first surprising pick at the third overall selection. They go with Derek Stingley, corner out of LSU. Here to talk to us about that selection, host of the College Football News podcast, Pete Fiutak. Pete, how are we feeling about that pick? I know that you're a Derek Stingley fan.
I am. It's obviously surprising because we thought that would be the third pass rusher, Kayvon Thibodeau, off the board. I like the offensive tackles. I'm kind of a fan of the guys who can block the guys who are going to go high in this draft. But it's hard to argue with this. If we were talking last year at this time, and who was the number one guy on the board? I mean, we're always wrong on this because we're throwing stuff at the wall. But our 2022 top pro prospects thing that we did last year at this time, it was Derek Stingley Jr. was the number one guy on the board. Injuries, he wasn't quite right. Foot problem. LSU kind of stunk. So there's a whole slew of things that were happening there. But on pure talent, when he's healthy, I always thought he was the better corner over Ahmad Gardner. And if you're the Houston Texans, you still got another pick coming. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. And so go with the best player available. It's the top three pick. If you think this guy's the best guy on the board, just take him and go, and you've got another pick coming up in a few minutes here.
Ryan, I know that you agree with Pete on this, that you have Derek Stingley ranked ahead of Sauce Gardner, who the consensus, every media pundit was picking Sauce Gardner over Derek Stingley. Why did you like Derek Stingley over Sauce Gardner, especially here now for the Texans?
It's the upside, man. I mean, I think in the right scheme, Sauce Gardner could be a fantastic player, but there is no scheme that does not fit Derek Stingley if he's healthy. I mean, like Pete said, this time last year, we would have said he's a top 3 pick next year, and he ends up being a top 3 pick. I mean, he's got everything from length, athleticism, mirror match ability, press man technique. Everything's there. The major question mark is obviously availability. And it is the greatest ability that you have. So this is going to be a pick that is either viewed as a boom or bust selection, right? Because if he stays healthy, it's a boom. Because I don't see him not being a successful football player if he's healthy. But obviously the downfall is how available is he going to be moving forward? Usually that stuff doesn't clear up in the NFL, but it has in certain cases. And I'm hopeful because I think Derek Stingley could be one of the best corners in the NFL.
I will say this about that he did have a legitimate foot injury. So he was absolutely injured. There's no question about that. However, if you're Derek Stingley Jr., you knew you were going to go to the NFL a couple of years ago. Of course he busted. Of course he wanted to play, but this is where he really wanted to be. That goes for a lot of these guys. And also, what have we seen in the first 3 picks in this draft so far? Trayvon Walker at the 1, now Derek Stingley. The guys who had the just ridiculous measurables and worked out well, they went in the top 3. The draft is going measurables, Desmond Ridder later in the draft. They watch out for the guys who worked out really well and weren't all that great last year, though.
If you want more insight on the NFL draft and college football, be sure to check out the College Football News podcast. Thanks so much, Pete, for hopping on with us. Again, be sure to check out his show.